Unscripted, unshackled, uncouth.
What you're about to hear is for more mature audiences only.
It's Miguel and Holly, Uncensored.
And we are live on the Miguel and Holly Facebook page and for the Miguel and Holly YouTube channel. So
on the YouTubes.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this on one of the podcast platforms, you can always listen to it if you're driving or something. You're like, I want to listen to it. iHeart Radio, iTunes, Spotify. Someone sent me a message and said that it's also on Google Play. It's everywhere.
Oh.
All right, so just type in
all the places.
Miguel and Holly Uncensored and leave us a rating and a review because it really helps. And then starting next week, we'll start going over some of the reviews as well. We got to get through this rather quickly because Holly, you've got something cool, not cool, but just it's a long process you've been going through with your mom for Miguel and Holly fam that's been with us for a while. And Platypus Posse, which is, if you're new to the podcast, that's what we call you. If you listen to the podcast, you're part of the Platypus Posse.
Exactly.
But you got something like a huge accomplishment.
I do. I'm a little even like, I told my person, I was like, I'm not celebrating yet. I'm just keeping my head down and pushing through this. But this whole process that truly started like a year ago of my mom's mental capacities just taking a nosedive. It's been a full year. It was last July when things started going like just bat-ish crazy. And like she would take double pills accidentally and just her eating habits got weird and she would be getting up and that. Anyway, started then, really hit a fever pitch in January. And then she had to I had to take her to the hospital at the 1st of February. I'm sorry, at the end of February, right before we started this job in March. And she had to have a meningioma tumor, which is non-cancerous, but still big, removed. This is the second one in 4 years that she's had to have brain surgery on. So especially fever pitch January, February, then we had the surgery, and it has been an absolute banana sandwich roller coaster since then. Rough. You can go back and listen to some of the podcasts. However, we are now in a place where we're in the end game, as my person says. So she had to go back into the hospital over 4th of July weekend for not a real reason, but she ended up there anyway. Today, and that's why Miguel's saying we have to be quick. We don't. We're okay on time, I think. It's happening today, whether I'm there or not. But today, she's being moved from the hospital to a skilled nursing facility / assisted living facility / memory care unit. And this is the second to the last stop for the permanent home that she'll be moving into. We need this sort of temporary layover almost between hospital and simply assisted living memory care that includes skilled nursing, because she's on this like 8-week round of IV antibiotics because she had a really bad infection in her incision in her scalp. So she needed a place that administers that. And her final place, the permanent place that she's going to be going to, with fingers crossed, permanently forever, they can't administer an IV antibiotic. So until the end of July, she's on this thing. She's got this like temporary layover, like I said, at a different place. But this place, and I just was telling Miguel before we started the podcast, I just got off the phone with the lady, and she's so nice. Like they already hear more, and my mom's not even there, than the old place did, who unceremoniously dumped her at the ER on Friday night at 6 p.m. on a holiday weekend. So I'm very glad. I'm so glad that we are like, it's like a 3-step plan. The first step was the hospital. Then the second step is this like intermediary layover place. Then the third step is her final place. We're almost there, y'all. I cannot believe that it has been this long. It seems like it's been longer, but sometimes it seems like it all seems long. It's not shorter, but So I'm very, like, I'm seeing the end. Like my partner said, we are in the end game. I see the end. And so I'm looking forward to getting her in today. She's been in the hospital for the last week, so her mind is shot. She gets something called hospital delirium. Watch out for your elder family, friends, and relatives because it's a real thing. Like they lose their mind in a hospital, especially people like my mom who were starting dementia. Makes it worse and it compounds every time you have to go to the hospital because there's no sense of time or place in a hospital.
Right.
Or
That
nothing
happened
that's recognizable.
to my grandmother as well. The last couple of
Yeah.
years when she would fall or have something happen. And then whenever she would be in the hospital, that is always when you could barely understand what she was saying and was just out of it
Yeah.
because of that sort of delirium.
Yeah. I didn't even know that that was a thing that existed until one of the random hospital stays over the past 4 months. I was Googling, like, why is it so much worse? And then I discovered it's a real thing. You can lose your mind just being in the hospital because there's, like I said, no sense of time or place. So anyway, I am. Shannon on YouTube said you must be. I know how much relief you must be feeling. It is. It is, but I'm not like letting myself sink into it until she's in the final place and we've gotten past all the hurdles because I've done that before. I've been like, we're good. Oh shit. Like,
Something happened.
some other thing happened.
5 steps back.
I know. And that's what this infection was. Like we were so close to the finish line before this infection in her scalp popped up. And then it set us back, really did set us back like 5 steps. But we qualified for Medicaid. I'm working with the attorney, so he's helping very much. This new place is going to be helping. So we're almost there, friends. And then you don't have to hear me bitch about it anymore. I'll still bitch about it like I do, but it won't be as devastating, I don't think.
It is. It's just one of those things that I can't imagine. And most people, if you haven't had to be there, can't imagine what you go through. But like my mom understands because of what she had to do with my grandmother in the last 10 years of her life and taking care of her and just how your life, you become a caretaker. It's like having a child. And so
without the benefits and perks of having a child, by the way.
Of like seeing them grow because it's the other half of life.
Or like you produced them and they have these moments of just angelic adorableness and you get that, like you get none of that.
Right.
And it's mixed with just pain and anguish and the shitty parts of dementia where this person that you used to know is no longer this person. And I'm a very patient person. I pride myself on my patience. I'm very patient. Not with this. Like it breaks me.
Right.
I don't even know like the people that are just full-time only, like, thank God we're able to have memory care. Like, I don't know what sort of shell of myself I would be if I could only have her at my house. I could not do it. Period.
I think that, and we should write this down for at some point. I'd like to have this on the podcast because this obviously wouldn't be the sexiest topic for the radio show or, be able to happen in 4 minutes or 3 minutes. But I think as us millennials are getting older and even like the Gen Xers that I know that are part of the fam and the Platypus Posse, like what steps do you need to get together now? So like for someone like my mom who is in her 60s or Abe's parents who are in their 60s and, they're healthy, they're doing well, but, 15, 20 years down the line, or if something happened, what do we need to do now to prepare for that sort of care?
That's a great question. And it's actually was recently just posted. Not that exactly, but it's like, what do you wish you had known? Because I'm in a Facebook group that's like caregivers, like dementia, Alzheimer's caregivers group. And the post today was like, what do you wish you would have known before you started this journey? But it's kind of like that. But this would be hopefully more less emotional and just more like, how do you prepare? Because I have learned so much along this way.
And that's why I want to sort of do it on the podcast. So, that's why I love the podcast, because it's sort of like, here are the things that we're interested in that aren't exactly like sexy.
It's not sexy. Like,
let's put it between Doja Cat and Eminem. Like,
God,
Give it to you, yeah. Give it to you, yeah.
God,
Hits 96.1. So your parents are gonna one day fail.
Parents are aging, and you need to be prepared.
So here's our healthcare specialist to talk about how to care for your aging parents. Bob.
Gen Z is like, I can't switch this station fast enough.
Right? But it's a part of the life cycle of what we are going through. And it's so interesting. And I at times wish that we had been in like one city for like our entire like morning show careers. But thankfully we have some people that have followed us around from Panama City to Tampa,
Oh yeah.
back to Panama City, back to Tampa, and now in Charlotte. And someone sent me a message the other day and they were like, hey, like I've been a long time listener. And I was like, oh, thank you. And she was like, no, like I remember when it was you and Kramer and Holly, even before Mandy. And I was like, oh, girl, you like OG in Panama
like
City.
08, 09 OG.
Right? I was like, oh, girl. She was like, I remember when they used to call your bank account and like see what it was and how low it was.
It was like 58 cents.
Right? And just how I think there was like one weekend I had to live on like $15 or $20 that Kramer gave me. And I was like, people were buying me drinks and stuff at the club because they were like, we got to help Miguel out.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
But she was like, it's so amazing to see someone go from that person at 22, 23 to see you like building a house and being married and just following along with those stories. And so that's why I kind of wish if, you know, we had been since 2008 in like one market, you know, this entire time to sort of see that progression. But I say all that to say that shows go through that life cycle. Like when we were in 2008, 2009, we were all young. We were playing games at spring break on the beach in Panama City.
Yeah.
And now we're like, how to take care of your aging parents. Abe is
the saddest fucking thing.
Well, I mean, it's not all sad. I just got married. You know, Abe we're dealing with like house shit in St. Pete for our house that we had built for HGTV.
Yeah.
Fucking flooded. And it's like, so it's like, it's just the difference in like where we've come from. But
and where we are.
I still plan on going to my friend's pool party tomorrow and having some drinks. Whoop. Real quick, before we get to the other topic that we teased at the end of the on-air show, let's do some shout outs. We got Layla who's here. Amy Gordon is here. Shannon said hi. Melody said hi. Britt said hi. Kelly said hi, and we're putting your names up on the YouTube channel. Let's see. Cynthia said hi. And then let's read some of these comments before we close out this part of the conversation. Melody said, take it one day at a time. It's overwhelming for sure.
You're right.
Shannon said, it's really the elder person who needs to make a plan and designate a POA.
It is. But as the younger person, you got to push them.
Right.
Like and they might not want to do it. And you got like my dad, for example, not really into having this conversation, but literally as I'm going through it with my mom, I'm like, Dad,
it's time.
Just so that it's really just helpful for the person that's going to be left behind. So Shannon said, designate a POA. I'm the POA. I'm the healthcare surrogate. And thank God we got all that taken care of at the last second in January of this year when my mom was still slightly with it. Even then, she's like, well, are you going to take my money and not give it to the church? I was like, Margaret, I will give your dang money to the church if you want to, but you need to sign this paper. Like, it was so like,
you're like, do you want a place to stay? Do you want to live?
I'm like, do you want me to pay your bills when because you're not paying them now? I'm like, this is all stuff I'm already doing. It's just legal now. So yes, designate somebody as the POA and you can get an attorney involved. That's what I recommend doing. Anyway.
Laura said, this is different. Patience isn't a factor when you're dealing with irrational thoughts and behavior and flat out mean. Memory care is a godsend. I'm so happy you're near the end and a weight has been or is being lifted.
Thank you, Laura. The place where my mommy is going, ultimately, the final place, the woman there, who happens to be, by the way, an M&H fan member.
Oh,
yeah.
That's
her
awesome.
name is Chelsea. So shouts out when I went to visit the place, she was like, secretly. Oh my God, I love you guys. I was like, hey, girl! And I have seen her on the comments and in some of the videos and stuff. So
Oh, that's awesome.
that was really friendly. And it was nice to have like a familiar, like warm blanket feeling, being like somebody that knows, right? As we talked and walked through it and we're leaving, she's like, our goal is to make it so that you can be a daughter again. And I just started crying. So I'm very excited about that.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Emily is here. Adrian, like I really have to just call you Doe Eyes. Like I can't, like I just can't ever. Like when I see you, you're Doe Eyes to me.
Yeah.
Let's see. And then Mo Talks for Life. Love you guys. Listen to you while I'm mowing in this heat all day.
Oh, you a real one.
Wow.
Out there mowing.
Wow. All right. Holly, do you want to bring up what you put into the teams that we want to talk about on the podcast?
All right, let me go find it real quick.
Here's a nice transition from talking about care for your elderly parents to the sex.
Here it is.
We gonna talk about.
We need a palate cleanser, I feel like.
I know, that's why I had to play that. Which, by the way, I just realized that at some point in the future, some of our like past podcasts that we've done over the 7 years probably will get deleted. Because remember back in the day, we used to like play songs and sing along and all this stuff. And apparently it's not the same on podcasts like it is radio, where on radio we can play.
Like heard that, but like we were like, whatever, nobody listens to this podcast.
Well, you can get flagged for that and they'll take the episodes down. So just if you want to go back and binge old episodes of the Uncensored podcast, it's there.
Better do it now, otherwise not gonna be there.
So Holly, our 3 seconds of copyrighted music. Genuine, thank you. The sex.
Thank you, Genuine.
That's it. Thank you, Genuine. What's the study?
A new study found that the best, you want to just read the whole thing?
Yeah.
Just little sentence. The best position for satisfying a woman in bed is missionary.
Oh.
Ideally with a small pillow under the woman's lower back.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
So, I read that as I was going through, the stuff today, what I call show prep to put together the on-air show, and I was like, we can't talk about that really.
That would just be gymnast, like being in a new city where 98% of the people are like still getting to know us, and then trying to like do the euphemism and like that would just be difficult now. So I was like, let's just talk about on the podcast about talking about fucking. So right. Missionary position. So if you feel comfortable, if you're watching this live, because this is on Facebook and your name is behind it. So
I know. I sometimes forget that and I'm like,
yeah, it's not anonymous.
Family member of mine can come across this.
Oh, well, I know that like my mom listens, Abe's parents listen.
I don't care about your mom. Like I know your mom's fine, but it is a little awkward that Abe's parents listen and my family's on Facebook. That's awkward.
Tim O'Connor's gonna be like, "Ooh,
nope,
let's watch Peanut and see what she's doing." What are you talking about? Fucking.
Don't say that and Tim O'Connor's name in the same sentence. How dare you?
Okay. Jason just joined the conversation on Facebook. All right, so let's do this. If your favorite position is missionary, in the comments, just write 1. All right. Just type the number 1. That's it.
The number 1.
So if anybody, is seeing your comments pop up, they'll just see 1. And I would be curious if
Emily's already over here like using her own code with emojis. Because she had a 100% with a thumbs up.
Oh, okay. So she likes the missionary with a pillow?
Thanks for calling her out, though. Oh, she's trying to be discreet. Jesus. She's like, I hate you guys. I love you, but I hate you. I get you, girl. I know.
Sorry. This is why we plan the on-air show out and the podcast is a train wreck, because I'm just
it is a train
working in real time.
Anyway, yes. So
Holly, what about you as people are putting their 1s or no? Or right, 1 means yes, you like it that way, or just no, there is another position you like.
Okay. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because I felt like it was sort of like an uncontroversial controversy, like based on media, movies, porn, society. it feels like that shouldn't be the right answer. Does
Right.
that make sense? And that's why I brought it up in the chat with you, Miguel, because I was like, this is an interesting topic, because I feel like even though that's what the survey said, like in whatever circles or whatever, people might be like, boring.
Right.
And that's why I thought, oh, this is like slightly controversial, although maybe not. Survey's right for me.
It's correct for you?
It's correct for me.
So now obviously this is different.
Pillow or no pillow, though. I mean, I can give or take. Sometimes it's like I don't have a small pillow, so sometimes you gotta be like, you're like,
then you're like,
get in the pillow.
Your vagina. I'm sorry. So the show I talked about last week, P Valley, the show. Yep. I didn't describe it correct. It's so much better than what I tried to describe it at. But the way that because it's Southern Mississippi, and the way they throw around the women do, like they're like, ooh, girl, she got that coochie hanging out over there. So now I'm like, I got to stop myself from saying that out loud. But I feel like if you have, like, we have those big body pillows, and if you put that underneath you, and then literally like your coochie just hanging out, and you're like, this is too much. So if you have like a small, like a throw pillow.
Yes.
That
would do it. Like, cause like like the decorative pillows, the ones with the shams on them, too big.
Right.
Too big pillows. And you're like way up.
like spread eagle.
Too high. Even though like this pillow out here. But so pillow or no pillow for me, but it is for me. It is. And I always feel guilty about that. Like, God, I'm boring. I'm sorry. If it's getting the job done and it's my favorite thing to do, I will not feel mad about that or ashamed or whatever. Everything else feels too much more.
Well, and that's actually, and it's so funny. So if Abe's parents, Randy, Mary Angela, or my mom are listening, just go ahead and stop at this point. Just
I
stop.
hope to God everybody already stopped.
Go ahead
related to us.
Stop right now. You do not want to hear about this. And for you, I'm not going to go into explicit detail. But I was actually going to have a conversation with Abe about how I feel guilty because, like, I am not about to do some gymnastics around the bed.
You're what they might say a plain Jane.
Now, like, if we've had some cocktails and it's a Friday night and we got all the time in the world, all right, cool, whatever. But like usually RMO, because when you're in a couple, you get into a routine. It'll be, a Saturday or a Sunday morning or whatever. And like, you're still waking up and then you're like, ooh, hey. And then it's sort of like the same. And I feel bad because like when you watch adult material, like they are twisting and turning and cartwheeling and flipping.
They're getting paid to do that.
And their coochie and their booty are literally just hanging out. And I'm like, girl, I am tired. It is the morning. I don't want to try to get up here and do a handstand on the bed.
Like, who am I doing this for?
No.
You, me? Do you want this? Because I don't.
No.
I'm not trying to. It's like long ago, before I understood about like pleasing, like doing something that feels good for you, I was all trying to like make it look like a performance, like I'm a showstopper, like I'm getting paid to do this. I'm like, who am I doing this for? Right. Certainly not my damn self. So maybe let's stop that.
Well, and then like, okay, let's be real here.
Geez, my mom at the hospital's calling me. You keep talking really quick.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna turn your microphone off and then just let me know when you're ready to come back.
I'll just pop right back on.
So it's just you and me here on Facebook and YouTube talking to you. But what I was gonna say is, when you are actually like doing it, or when they're doing it in those different positions, like what is the benefit of that? Because to me, when you're doing a movie, a video or something, like clearly the whole point of that is you're putting on a show. So obviously when you're watching adult material, just doing it plain Jane missionary is not exciting to just watch that if you do watch adult material. But obviously switching it up, different camera angles, upside down, hanging from the chandelier, like that is exciting to watch. But in real life, that's not so much, because how is that enhancing your personal time? Because that's what I've always wondered is, how is that gonna get me to the finish line quicker? Because it's not. Because what's gonna happen is if we are trying to do a cartwheel around the room and like shoot the dart, or if we're trying to or Jason on Facebook said I came in like a wrecking ball, or do all sorts of things like that, that's going to get me out of the moment. And that's going to make it to where I'm not focused. I'm not enjoying myself, because then I'm thinking to myself, okay, if I'm upside down outside the bed, how does my left male titty look? It's hanging in my face. How does my roll look? How does my butt look here? Oh, wait, I'm actually upside down. And so like the blood is rushing to my head. And so then it takes me out of the moment.
I came back in and you said you were upside down.
Hold on, I'm gonna recap for you real quick.
Please do, because by the way, you know how jarring it is to get a call from your addled mother who's like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "All right, hold on.
We're talking about missionaries." Fucking.
And then get that all taken care of, and then I got to go back to this. Okay.
Doai said, "I feel like it's all for show. If you do what you like and your partner likes it too, don't fix what ain't broken."
Absolutely. And, check in with each other to see maybe if there's something new that comes up you want to try. But like,
right. Well, what I was saying, Holly, is that the reason why I don't like doing all these other positions that you see in adult material porn, that's for show. And it's entertainment. Also, it's for, that's the reason why you're watching it. But also, that's why they switch up camera angles and they threw storylines, because it is entertainment. But when you are in the moment with your person and you're doing it, for me, that takes me out of the moment and I'm not enjoying myself, because now I'm focused on, how am I looking? How am I feeling? Is this comfortable? How long can I keep up with this position? And then I'm like, well, now it's been, 30 minutes and both of us don't want to be here doing this. And we both tired. And then nobody's going to get to the finish line.
Lame.
So
porn really fucked up everybody's sex lives. I mean, there have been some great things that have advanced because of porn.
Right.
But I think there are more downsides than upsides. Mainly because so many straight men have absolutely no idea what it's like to be really with a woman. It did such a disservice because it made women look like performers.
Right.
And for women too. Like when I first saw my first porn, whatever, I was like, oh, this is what we got to do?
Oh. So
then I started performing,
right.
Putting on this show to make sure that the man was happy. Then he's expecting that. He's expecting it's just, I feel like it really ruined a lot of stuff. Like I said, don't get me wrong. A lot of good things come from porn too, because I do feel like maybe some guys learned a thing or two.
Right.
And maybe paid attention for the right reasons.
Right.
But overall, I would say more bad than good.
I wish there was a way for a warning or a I don't know, they could just slap a warning on all adult material, especially when you're young and you discover it. That's this is not real life.
Right.
Because
do not attempt some of these things at home even.
No.
It needs the jackass warning.
Right? I mean, because there were a lot of reasons why I did not. I did not. I'm not saying all the time, but it was really hard for me to enjoy myself when it came to adult time with other people until Abe.
I think that's not uncommon. So thank you for being vulnerable.
Yeah, because I'm and now there were one, I can probably count on my hands the amount of times where I'm ooh, that was a good off. That was a one-off. And I've had boyfriends in the past where we had some good times, but I was never fully vulnerable or myself until I was with Abe. And I remember one of the first few times we were ever intimate, when I remember after the fact, I was oh my God, for the first time while doing it, I didn't think about, are they okay? Am I okay? Am I looking okay? What's going on?
A lot of people get in their own heads.
Yeah.
And it's not all porn's fault, because sometimes people have anxiety disorders and body image issues, but porn did not help any of those original issues.
Right. And that's why for the longest time, I always said I was not great at sex.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand why. And that was because I was never fully there, because I was always thinking about all of the extra stuff around it and making sure that I was putting on a good performance and not actually like what was happening there in that moment.
Right. You were not present in the moment or in your body.
Right.
Because when you're not present in your body and also letting yourself feel the feelings, how that can't be that good for you. Right. And I want to point out that Shannon from YouTube had a good comment. Not to mention there are so many IG and OnlyFans amateurs. You can literally see porn at any time in the phone in your hand. It's too much.
Right.
Completely desensitized to it. Kind of like how we are desensitized towards violence in movies. People, especially people that watch porn frequently, even if you don't, it's hard not to see something sexual. It desensitizes your mind. And if you're alone often, as a man or a woman, or if you're using alone time a lot, it desensitizes your body too. So you're desensitizing your mind and your body to the stimulation that you would have with a partner, and you're numb. And it's not as good as when you're alone or when you're watching porn, because it's in your face all the time. It's crazy. There's fucking gymnastics. You're, doing things a lot to yourself. Everything is desensitized and you are numb. And that's why we have so many issues with connecting with another person for sex, I think.
Now, I will say, though, because I have admitted before in the past that, I still, to this day, married, watch adult material.
Right.
Not as much because Abe's home in the afternoon, unlike back in the past.
Sorry, Abe.
But I have noticed, though, that it does change how frequently I am in the mood, as opposed to when it was like, was part of my afternoon routine,
Right. Yeah. And I don't want to come across as judgmental at all.
Right.
This is a conversation that I recently had in our relationship as my partner sort of on a self-discovery journey in that area. And we've had lots of conversations about it. And so let me please not come off as judgmental, because Miguel, we used to joke about how you would watch adult material all the time.
Yeah, girl. Used to be
You're having alone time all the time. I'm not judging that. So please don't take it as like, oh, well, you shouldn't be doing that. Like, I'm over here having a long time. Okay. Like, that's normal and natural. It's when it becomes too much. And I guess for everyone, it's a little bit different, but like, there is such a thing as too much.
Right.
Because like you just mentioned, you have a better appetite for it with a partner if you're not satisfying all your needs all the time alone. That's not to say you shouldn't satisfy your own needs or explore your own body or figure out what feels good to you.
Right.
But it's almost like food. I'm like, you're snacking all day, snacking. You get to dinner time and you're like, I'll have this carrot.
Right. I don't want this big old juicy steak.
I don't have room for the steak.
Right.
It looks good, but like, I'm kind of full.
Girl, it's a big old piece of meat. Why don't you want it?
I'm kind of full.
That's because you had too many cheese sticks leading up to it.
Right. Same thing with sex. It's okay to go without for a little bit so that you build up some longing, some wanting, some excitement. And then when you get to the big old piece of meat, you're like, damn, girl, I'm hungry.
You're like, girl, I'm ready with my fork and knife to eat this meat up. Girl. Well, there you go. A little sex talk on a Friday.
That took on, what the hell do I title this podcast? Warning.
The sex one.
Elderly and the sex.
Wait.
No, I don't even know. Like, this is what the problem is. We talk about too many opposite things on the podcast. I don't know how to label it. We'll figure that out.
I love it, though. All right, Holly, what's your social media?
Radio Holly on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram.
Mine is Miguel Fuller, MiguelFuller. Sincerely, thank you so much for listening and being a part of the Platypus Posse. It means the world that you would come along this journey with us. And it is never lost on us that we would not be able to be here if it were not for you. So thank you so much. Make sure to leave us a rating. We appreciate it. And remember, you can listen to the podcast anywhere. Check it out on YouTube, Facebook. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Miguel and Holly Uncensored.
Catch it on the iHeart Radio app or anywhere you listen to podcasts.